What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Laughing Man Network's Fantasycast. This is episode 3.5, week 3 of the 2022 NFL season. Everything's going to get started tonight at the release of this video. It'll be Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. You got Pittsburgh versus the Cleveland Browns. I'm waiting to see. I want to see Trubisky in prime time. I want to see him give it a go. This offensive line just doesn't look very good for Pittsburgh. I can see what Big Ben was dealing with for all these years. But hopefully Trubisky can bounce back. We got a few fantasy players going in this game. We're going to talk about them. But before we get started, go ahead down there. It takes 2 seconds. Hit that thumbs up. Hit subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Share us on Facebook. We're on all social media platforms. We have wrestling content, gaming content. Check out Wes and Rocky over there on the Wrestlecast. We post weekly. We talk the week of wrestling, WWE, AEW, all the hot news. So hit us up. Make sure you follow us. Just a bunch of grown men who like to hear themselves talk. And, you know, we want to give y'all the content that y'all like. So the more people that subscribe, the more people we reach, and we can better the show. So please hook us up. So as we get started, we're going into week 3. It's been a pretty fun season so far. Football's always fun, but it's a little better when you win. My Cowboys won. They squeaked out a win against last year's AFC Super Bowl team. So that was pretty exciting. I wasn't expecting much without Dak, but Cooper Rush looks like he might be able to handle the offense, at least maintain it. Maybe not make a lot of mistakes, but if we can have a couple players step up, especially our defense, we might be able to hold out until Dak comes back. I went 5-3 on the week. I'm in a couple dynasties, so it's hard to say with those kind of leagues. You're either rebuilding or you're trying to win. So, you know, week 1 and 2, you're just kind of figuring out where your team stands, but doing pretty good. Redraft, we bounced back 3-1. And hoping we can keep it together, waiting for some guys to come back from injury. Maybe we can all win some championships. So we're going to start off with buy low, sell high. I'm going to give you some guys at each position that I think you should either go out there and get on the cheap right now. Maybe some people are down on them, not thinking about them, or guys that you should capitalize. Maybe not completely sell out, but take a step down, add a piece somewhere on your roster to make you stronger week to week, give you a higher floor. So we got quarterbacks on buy low. I'm looking at the 3 old men. I'm looking at Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. All 3 of these guys have been struggling the first few weeks of the season. There's a lot of questions about their offense right now, whether it be injuries or who are your receivers. Aaron Rodgers is struggling with that. But I think right now, find the people who are down on them and go buy them low. Offer them something. Give them, you know, if you have a Jared Goff, if you have a Winston, you know, someone else that may be doing a little bit better, and try and get one of these quarterbacks, because I think they're going to improve as the season goes on. These are vets. They're on good offenses that are just going through some issues at the moment. So go get these guys. They would be great to have in your super flex for the rest of the season. And right now you might be able to find some managers who are so far down on them, they're willing to just kind of give them up for anybody. So go get those guys. Next up, we got running backs. Guys that you may be able to go buy low. Josh Jacobs. A lot of people aren't thinking about Josh Jacobs. I think right now he is the running back 32 on the season, points per game. He got 20 touches this past weekend, which is great. That's elite. I mean, that's what you want out of your running backs. But they've been trying to feed Devontae Adams. They struggled this past weekend. They came out big in the first half and then just couldn't do anything in the second half. I expect more out of Josh Jacobs as the season goes. He's finished as a back-end running back 1, top running back 2, pretty much every season. So go get Josh Jacobs, find the manager who's not thinking about him, trying to get cute and play somebody else, and see if you can get him pretty cheap. Next down, we got Henry and Dalvin Cook. These are two guys that we know are first-round running back talents when it comes fantasy draft time. We know they're better than what they're doing. Minnesota struggled this past weekend. They kind of abandoned the run at the end. They needed to get downfield. And Cook, he's averaging 5.5 targets still, even with the struggles. He's still getting 3.5 yards per carry, which isn't terrible, but I expect that to go up. We had the Cousins primetime game. The offense struggled. That's not going to happen every week. We know that offense is going to get going. We know Justin Jefferson's going to get going. It looks like they can't really trust Adam Thielen anymore. So I expect Dalvin Cook to get more involved and to be that elite running back that he is. So if you can find somebody who's down on him, go ahead and get him. Same thing with Henry. 2 rough games. I think he only scored like 6 and 8 points. That's no good. But he's a good running back. He's getting older. He may be slowing down. But if you can get somebody who's super low on Derrick Henry right now, maybe they're 0-2 at the moment, see if you can go get him and, I don't know, try and give him a James Conner, Fournette, like a strong running back too, that looks like an even swap, but you still get that upside with Henry. I think they're going to get that offense going. They just played the Bills this past weekend. That's a tough matchup, and they're not going to have to play the Bills again. So go ahead and get Derrick Henry, see if you can get him on the low. As always, A.J. Dillon, he didn't have as good of a game this past weekend as he did in week 1, but Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show this week. He said he wants to get both running backs involved even more. He wants A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones to have at least 15 touches each, whether that be in the passing game, the running game. So expect Aaron Rodgers to try and get some more dump-offs and get those guys downfield a little bit in the open space until he can trust his wide receivers. So if you can get A.J. Dillon, he's probably not going too cheap, but if you can move back off of somebody who's not impressing at the moment that you drafted maybe the 2nd round, 3rd round, move back, get A.J. Dillon, have confidence to start him at least in your flex spot on a week-to-week basis. And you might be able to get an extra piece from moving back. So I'm pushing to get A.J. Dillon. Cam Akers. I didn't want Cam Akers on my team. I said at the beginning of the season. But if you can get him to move down into maybe you play 2 flex positions and you can get an extra running back that at least has the upside. They brought him back. He played something like 45% of the snaps. They're still feeding Darrell Henderson, but they did give 15 carries to Akers. So that means they're at least trying to work him back and get some momentum going. He scored about 8 points. He also had 3 targets. So that's 18 touches. He went from 3 touches for 0 yards to right back to 18 touches this week. So if you can get Akers cheap and you can have him as one of your flex guys, that's a lot of upside. So if he does get going this season, or if he pops off a big game and you want to resell him and get more for him, I suggest going to do that now. Going down, we got wide receivers. Wide receiver I want to buy low is going to be Deontay Johnson. Everybody sees Pittsburgh's offense is struggling. Deontay Johnson is right now, he's like a back-end wide receiver too. He's only getting maybe 12, 13 points a game, but he's still getting 10, 11 targets each game. So if you can go get Deontay Johnson, I think that offense is going to get going eventually. They're going to get some more chemistry with Trubisky. Even if they put in Pickett, Deontay Johnson's still getting the targets. So go out there, see if you can get him, trade off of, another wide receiver that's struggling, or if you have, you want to package him up with somebody and move up and get a, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, someone who's going to come back and is still going to get a lot of work. Buy low Olave for the Saints this past weekend. He had 13 targets. He's playing 75% of the snaps. He's had about 10 points each week. So he's involved in the passing game, and even in a game they struggled and they were trying to work their way back in against Tampa Bay, they trusted him enough to throw him the ball. So I think Olave is going to continue to get more work. I think that offense is going to figure it out, whether it be Winston or if they have to put Dalton in. I think Olave is going to get used, and I think he's going to get a pretty good target share. So if you can get him to put on your bench, trade off some bench guys with another guy. Don't trade off of a stud. This is just a guy you can get on your roster, and down the line, he may be a really good flex play, fill in for you on some bye weeks. So if you can, try and get Olave. Next down, we just talked about him. Mike Evans, he's suspended for a week. You might have somebody who needs a wide receiver or something this week. Maybe they don't want to deal with the headaches of Tampa Bay because Tom Brady's not doing great. But I think you can go and you can get Mike Evans maybe at a little bit of a discount. Offer them somebody who's definitely going to play, even if it's somebody you may need, but you have an extra bench guy you can fill in if you got to wait for the trade to go through or something. But go get Mike Evans before the suspension's over, and try and get them a guy that they can use, and take Mike Evans, and you'll have wide receiver 1, top wide receiver 2 for the rest of the season. So take advantage of that right now. The other guy, DeAndre Hopkins, I think right now is about the lowest he's going to be. I think he's going to start to rise as we get closer to his suspension being up. He's expected to come back in week 7. So right now, I think is a perfect time to buy him. People are, maybe they're 0-2. They're struggling. They need an extra piece. Go get DeAndre Hopkins. If you're a winning team, have him down the stretch, because that's a good offense, and they haven't really shown everything they have yet. And I think when they get DeAndre Hopkins, that's going to be great for them to have that extra big body on the outside and more touchdown upside for the team. So I think he's going to be worth stashing. So if you can afford to, get rid of the bench spot, get him and stash him. Cheap guy, Darnell Mooney. People are probably at this point ready to drop Darnell Mooney. So if you're working one of these trades, and it may be an even trade you're working, they have Darnell Mooney. Grab Darnell Mooney off of them, see if they'll just kind of throw him in, just an extra piece, maybe for some fab, and hold on to Mooney. I think that whole offense is struggling, and he's still playing 90-something% of the snaps. He's in there all the time. He's just not getting a lot of targets. They're not throwing the ball much. Fields had an awful game too. He only threw the ball like 8 times, maybe 11. It's a horrible game. So get Mooney. You can have him as an emergency flex. You can have him maybe as a flex if it picks up. But I think he's worth getting onto your bench and waiting to see what happens there. You may even be able to move him after a couple of big games. So if Mooney's available as a throw-in somewhere, try and get him in there. Tight ends. Well, first off, wide receiver. Last one is going to be Deebo Samuel. Deebo hasn't had the best first 2 weeks, especially seeing where you draft them and what he did last year. I think some of it was probably due to Trey Lance's struggles starting off the season. I don't think they were looking to bench him at any time for Jimmy G, but Trey Lance did get hurt. Now Jimmy G is the starting quarterback. Jimmy G doesn't have the athleticism that Trey Lance has. He's not going to be able to buy time for his wide receivers to get downfield. So I think this is going to hurt Brandon Ayuk a little bit. But I think it is going to benefit Deebo Samuel. And if you have people in your league, maybe they don't, recognize that Deebo is going to get better with Jimmy G, try and go get him. See if you can move up from, give him somebody, a side running back that you have and match him with Garrett Wilson or something. I think you can go get Deebo. His price is only going to get higher. I think with Jimmy G, they're going to be looking to open the field up, get some athleticism going out of the backfield, get him into open space and get quick hit shots and let him work his way downfield. Let him break a couple tackles or shake some people. So I think with Jimmy G, you're going to see a lot more receptions going Deebo's way than there were before. where Trey Lance is either going to run the ball himself or he can roll out enough to get Ayuk or Kittle or whoever else downfield. So go get Debo. The window's small. You got to get him before this weekend. Tight ends, Pitts. Right now, he's the tight end 35. That's very disappointing for a lot of people who drafted him in the 3rd or 4th round in some leagues. So I think they're going to start using him more. Drake London's come in. He's looked pretty good. He's the first read for Mariota constantly. But I think if they can get their timing and everything right, Mariota, or if they go Ritter, I think they'll have to start looking to a second target, and that's going to be Pitts. If London starts drawing extra coverage, they're going to have to go to Pitts. It's either him or Patterson, and Patterson's been working his way out of the backfield. So if they're going to go downfield at all, it's probably going to have to be Pitts, and Pitts is still playing almost all of the snaps. So look for Pitts to pick it up. If they go to Ritter, that might even be better for Pitts. But for now, a lot of people are down on him. See if you can go switch him out. I'm willing to give up a Hawkinson, a Higbee and something. See if somebody's sour and willing to come up off of Pitts. Other buy low, if you can go get him too, is Hawkinson. I'd rather buy lower if you can on Pitts, but Hawkinson's going to get more involved. That offense is pretty good, at least so far. They're playing inspired football. The Lions team's fired up. They want to prove the world they're a decent team. Hawkinson's a really good tight end, but they've been feeding Amon-Ra. Shark got involved in week 1. They got Reynolds involved. Jameson's going to be coming back. Swift and Jamal Williams. There's a lot of mouths to feed, but I think it's going to catch up for Hawk. I think he's going to start scoring maybe a few touchdowns. And when they get Jameson Williams back and they're opening the field up even more, that may even help Hawkinson. So if you can get him cheap right now, if a lot of people are down on him and they're turning around and playing Hurst and Higbee and stuff, see if you can go get him on a throw-in on a trade for something cheap and, have a decent tight end. Sell highs. We know Tua had a huge game. I don't know if Tua is going to be, top 5, top 6 like that by the end of the season, but it was such a big game. Everybody saw it. See if you can move Tua and maybe move up to Kyler, somebody in that tier who is going to be good all season, and see if you can get maybe even a piece added in. Maybe now they're that high on Tua, but I'm willing to sell high on Tua and maybe get a little extra out of it. Carson Wentz, right now he's the QB3. I don't think that's going to be sustainable. I think they're going to slow down, but he's still going to be a decent quarterback. So if you have to keep him, keep him. No issue there. But I think you may be able to take him and move up and get somebody who's down on maybe Joe Burrow. I'd rather have Joe Burrow probably for the rest of the season. So same thing with Tua. See if you can go get Joe Burrow. See if you can go get Herbert. Maybe people are down on him right now. I'm willing to go try and get those guys. Running backs. We have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's been looking good. He's been looking like a good running back, but here's the issue with Kansas City. 42% of snaps for Clyde Edwards. He had 11 touches this past weekend. He's not getting much, he's averaging 11 touches through 2 games. That's not a lot of touches. He's getting a few rushes, a couple passes, but McKinnon's eating, Pacheco's eating, every wide receiver's eating. They got backup tight ends grabbing touchdowns. This team's spreading the ball around a little too much. I don't think Clyde Edwards is going to be able to hold on to the efficiency that he's had. He can't be relied on to have a touchdown every game. So if you can sell Clyde Edwards, try and sell him as a top back. Right now he's the running back 6. Try and sell that to people that he's a top 10 running back and see if you can move over and get somebody who is going to be, a ball hog. See if you can work him into a trade, move up, get him mixing. Go get Derrick Henry. go get Dalvin Cook in a package and see what, have the upside from those teams. Chubb, he's the running back 1 right now. I like Chubb a lot. He's getting a lot of touches. He scored 3 touchdowns this past weekend. He had 3 receptions. He's still averaging 5.5 yards per carry, which is elite. And the problem I still have is going to be that Kareem Hunt is sometimes going to steal red zone work. Chubb in the passing game is going to be hit or miss. Brissett's using him a little more than he has in the past with Mayfield and other quarterbacks. But I think I would still rather move back from Chubb if I have him. Try and get Barkley in a piece. CMC, people are kind of down on him. Go get CMC in a piece. Alvin Kamara in a piece. Sell him as the running back 1 and see if you can fill out your roster and get a higher floor for your overall score every week doing that. Gibson, running back 11. He's playing 58% of snaps. J.D. McKissick is starting to get involved in the passing game. But Gibson's only getting 2 yards per carry. He had 20 touches this weekend. But I think you need to sell high. You're going to have Brian Robinson coming back still. Try and sell Gibson as being the running back 11. Maybe move over and try and get a Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs. Add someone and try to get Alvin Kamara. And let them deal with the headache down the stretch. I think that offense is going to slow down a little bit. And Gibson's going to be probably sharing the backfield with 2 running backs in a few weeks. So go ahead and sell Gibson now. Wide receivers. I was big on Curtis Samuel last week. I spent a lot on Curtis Samuel on waivers. But sell high on Curtis Samuel. Dotson's on his way up. Like I said, that offense is going to slow down. I don't think he's going to continue to get 10, 11 targets every game. So sell Curtis Samuel. If you can package them together and move up at running back, move up at tight end, go ahead and, you can sell Samuel. I'm all right with that. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like the guy. I think he's going to continue to do very well. You got to start him every week. I'm not sure you're going to be getting these type of games every week, especially once Jamison Williams comes back from injury. Don't know if they get Hawkinson involved. Amon-Ra starts drawing more coverage, but I think right now, with having such a huge week and being the wide receiver 4, I think you can maybe move back, try and get a Devontae Adams in a piece. I don't know if you're not going to get Diggs, but move back, try to get another really good wide receiver, Michael Thomas and an A.J. Dillon, if you need a running back, to fill in as well. Move off of Amon-Ra right now while he's at his peak. Everybody saw the high score, and but if you have to keep him, no harm. I'm all right with keeping him too, but just an idea to move. Duvernay, wide receiver 19. He's still only playing 53% of snaps, and he's only getting 3 targets a game on average. So don't keep Duvernay. Sell him now. Try and add him in a package with something and go get somebody. Edmonds and Duvernay, try to get A.J. Dillon. Just get off of it now. He's not going to be able to keep up with that. Dobbins is going to come back soon. He's going to get involved in the passing game. And I don't see it continuing for Duvernay to be, wide receiver 3 or whatever he is now, a wide receiver 19. So he's a wide receiver 2. I think Drake London is a good sell. He's averaging 18 points a game right now, 9.5 targets a game. But 7 of his 8 next games are against defenses that are really good against wide receiver. I think, like I said, I think they want to get Pitts involved. So if they start to do that, that may pull some targets away from London. London may start being the focus of coverage instead of maybe Patterson or Pitts. So I think right now, I think you can sell Drake London. Sell him as being he's a wide receiver 14. Sell him as that. See if you can get somebody around that same tier that is in a set position. Mike Evans maybe. Mike Williams. I love Mike Williams, but Keenan Allen is probably going to come back. We've seen it before. Mike Williams can't keep up that consistency. He can't keep doing the 20-point games and everything every week. He's going to have great games. If you have him as maybe your third wide receiver in your team, that's fine. You can flex him every week. Go ahead and keep him. But after a big game like he just had, people knowing Keenan Allen might miss one more week, go ahead and sell Mike Williams now and try to get a more consistent wide receiver. You might be able to move up and 1-for-1 or maybe just a small add-on, try and get Devontae Adams or something, somebody who had a bad week off of our buy low list. Tight ends, Gesicki. Gesicki scored 16 points this past week. He looked good. The offense looked good, but the offense isn't going to do that every week. Gesicki's still just not getting used. He's playing third, fourth fiddle on the offense. Try and sell him right now. Try and move up at tight end, add a Duvernay or something like that, and see if you can just move up just a few spots at tight end and get somebody that's going to be a little more consistent. Irv Smith just had a big game, but he still only played 56% of snaps. He got 8 targets, which is good, but the offense struggled. Justin Jefferson didn't really get anything going. Thielen didn't get anything going. Don't expect that to be the norm. They're going to pass the ball. Those are the primary targets, and Irv Smith is going to be an afterthought. He's going to have some good games. He's a decent tight end. He still could be a back-end tight end one, but he had the big game. See if you can move off of him and move up at the position somewhere, add on, and go get Goddard or something like that. And Dawson Knox, he's playing 75% of snaps, still only getting 4 targets a game. It's still going to come down to touchdowns, and if he's not getting touchdowns, he's probably going to have a disappointing week. So while the name is still hot and everybody knows that you drafted him fairly high, go ahead and try to sell Dawson Knox to somebody now. Let's turn the page in my awesome notebook. We got sits and starts. Y'all know I said it in past episodes. I'm not going to give you go start Cooper Kupp, go start Chubb. That's, of course, you're going to start those guys. Go start Goddard. Go start, Pitts, whatever. If it's somebody out of those that you may want to sit, I'll suggest them. But those guys, you're starting them. I'm trying to help you in your flex positions, your wide receiver 3 positions, the spots that you need to decide on each week. And these are a few of the guys that you may be trying to decide on. For my sits, we know to start people, you got to sit people. So QBs, I'm going to go Jameis Winston versus Carolina. Carolina's pretty decent against the pass. Winston's playing apparently with some fractures in his back. He looked way off against Tampa Bay. He looked scared to run. He wasn't really getting any push behind the ball. He wasn't getting downfield much. So Jameis Winston, he's expected to score 20 points. I'm okay with sitting him this week from your super flex. Keep him out of there and try to find another option. Aaron Rodgers is expected to score 20.7, but he said that he wants to get A.J. Dillon involved. He wants to get Aaron Jones involved. They're going against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got a pretty good defense. I think they may give the wide receiver connection a tough time. So Aaron Rodgers may not be looking at a ton of touchdowns. I think you can still probably put him in your super flex unless you have another option like a Goff or maybe Wentz, Jimmy G. I'm willing to play them over Aaron Rodgers this week. Unless you have to, Aaron Rodgers can always do Aaron Rodgers things. But I think he's going to have one of those 15-point games or so. And, just throwing that out there, Geno Smith, just don't play Geno Smith. Just don't. Dameon Pierce, running backs, playing against Chicago. He's averaging 6 points a game. He's expected to score 10.2 in this game. I don't know if I see it happening. Chicago's not an awful defense. Their offense struggles, but their defense is okay. They may still work Rex Burkhead a little more, but they're still trying to get Dameon Pierce going. I'm not ready to start him. So leave Dameon Pierce out just for the week. He is improving, but I'm not ready to start him. Cam Akers, I still want to see more. Don't go out there and start him just yet if you don't have to. I think he's a buy low, but I'm not ready just yet. He's expected to score 9.9 points. I'm not 100% you can trust him just yet. Mostert got a bunch of carries last week, scored like 10.5 points. Don't go get Mostert and start him. Leave Mostert off your roster, especially your starting lineup. Singletary against Miami. Miami's got a pretty good defense. He's only averaging 10 points a game. So I think he may struggle to get that. If he hits it right on the spot, maybe. But I don't think he's going to have any upside this week. So if you can sit Singletary, go ahead and sit Singletary. Wide receivers, Adam Thielen. He's expected to score 13.3 points. I think it's almost over for Adam Thielen. He may have a couple of games. But for right now, sit him. Wait for him to have a good game and sell him. That offense runs through Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson now. So I'm not worried about him. Robbie Anderson. Don't play Robbie Anderson this week. They play against the Saints. We all know Saints defense is pretty good. In the division, it's always chippy. I'm not willing to see what happens with that and start him. He's only projected to score 9 points, I think, 9.5 points. I don't think he has any upside this week. Go ahead and leave Robbie Anderson out of your flex spot. All the Kansas City wide receivers. I'm not interested in playing any of them. I said the highest ranked one at the moment is McCole Hardman. I believe he's ranked 41st. They have one touchdown amongst wide receivers on the season so far. They've been throwing touchdowns to running backs, tight ends. Just their top 4 receivers have one touchdown. Don't play them if you don't have to. I understand the upside, but they're spreading the ball around too much, and I don't know if that's going to improve fantasy-wise. Nelson Aguilar, he had a 23-point game this past week. Don't go start him. Don't go put him in your flex. That offense isn't going to go through Nelson Aguilar. He's like 3rd on the depth chart, maybe 4th. Don't do it. Robert Woods, I think I'm done. I like Robert Woods. I always have. I've been a truther, but it might be over. That offense, they want to get Henry going. Their passing game's not getting it done, and I'm not sure Robert Woods is going to have it anymore. So go ahead and sit Robert Woods. I'm I'm a Knox hater. Once again, try not to. If you don't have to play Dawson Knox, just try to sell him. I'm not interested in playing him. You know, he's got the touchdown upside, but he's also dealing with a foot injury, apparently. He doesn't get enough targets. Maybe he gets a touchdown, but you got to bet on it. So, Alberto against San Francisco. Alberto's having a bad time. He got one target, I think, last week, and he dropped it. He's just not getting it done. They're playing fullbacks at tight end. I think they have 3 tight ends they've played, and all of them have touchdowns, but Alberto don't. I think that might be it for Alberto. Maybe wait and see, but try not to start him. And Gesicki, I wanted him as a sell high. I don't think Gesicki's going to bounce back and do the same thing. He's probably going to be touchdown dependent because he's just so far down the target tree. But if you don't have to start him, don't try to follow and chase those points looking for it every week. Starts. We got our quarterback starts. Carson Wentz. Go ahead and throw Carson Wentz in there. He's projected to score 20 points. He's averaging like 34 points. I say he's a sell high, but if you have him and you start playing him, make sure he's in there. He's giving you QB1 points out of your super flex. So you got to start him until the wheels fall off. Jimmy G versus Denver. He's projected to score 18.2. They got enough weapons on that offense. I think Kittle's back. Shanahan's familiar with Jimmy G. It's not like a real backup is in there now. I think they're going to open that offense up a little bit, score some points, and I think Jimmy G's looking at about a 20, 22-point day. Marcus Mariota, if we're digging deep and you're dealing with some injuries, he's got that rushing upside every week. So they're playing against Seattle, who doesn't have an exactly scary defense. So I think they may be able to move the ball a little bit. So if he rushes for 50 yards, that's free 5 points. So his floor is going to be, pretty good. So go ahead and play Mariota. I'm okay with it. He's projected to score 20. So maybe you might be able to play him over. Another guy I had on sits over here I didn't mention was Justin Fields. I want to see it before I, start him again. So let Mariota go in instead of Winston, instead of Fields, instead of Geno if you're struggling because you lost Dak or Trey Lance or somebody. Running backs, Montgomery. He's playing against Houston. I want to play him. He's expected to score 14.8 points. I think he hits that or does better. Houston doesn't have a good run defense. Monty got it going last week. He scored 17, 18 points. I think they continue to try to work him down the field, pound the ball a little bit, take some pressure off of Justin Fields, and, not try to just all of a sudden ask Justin Fields to throw the ball 30 times. So I think they're going to work through David Montgomery this week. They may play some Khalil Herbert, but I think Montgomery's going to be a fine running back play. So don't get down on him from that week one. Jacobs, again, he hasn't had the best games the first 2 weeks, but he's getting the touches. They're playing against Tennessee. Tennessee can get run on. There's only 10.7 points projected. I think he can crush that. I think maybe he gets a touchdown this weekend. They start working the offense through him a little bit. So go ahead and start Jacobs. Pollard, he's playing against New York Giants. Once again, he got going this past week. They have Cooper Rush playing quarterback. They wanted to open up the field a little bit, get some speed going, and take some pressure off of Rush, and it worked with Pollard. I think they're going to continue that against the Giants. He's projected to score 10.1 points, but he's averaging 16. He's getting 16 touches this past week. If he's in that 15, 16 touch range, then Pollard's going to give you a pretty good day. So start Pollard. If you have Breece Hall, I'm fine with starting him against Cincinnati this week. He's projected to score 11 points. In week 1, he had 9 targets. In week 2, he had 7.14 yards per carry, and he was averaging. Oh, he's averaging 11.5 points. I had to read what I wrote, but he's averaging 11.5 points. I think he can beat that. He had great yards per carry this past weekend. He looked really good. I watched the game. That offense got going. I think Breece is going to work his way into the game plan a little more. I think he's going to take over touches, 10 to 15 touches, and maybe more some weeks. So look for Breece Hall to get better, but I think this is going to be the week where you can start to put him in your flex spot. I have him written under starts. I meant to say a sit. A guy, my risky sit of the week is going to be Cortland Sutton. That might be a surprise. If Judy's out, maybe scratch it. But if Judy plays, I'm fine with sitting Sutton this week if you can find a better replacement. They're playing San Francisco. San Francisco plays wide receiver pretty well. You can get a few big plays off of him if you throw it deep, but I don't think Cortland Sutton's the big play guy. I think that's Judy or Hamler. So I don't know if Cortland Sutton will hit that 14.3 he's projected, but he is getting 9 targets. So if you have to flex him, no big deal. But if you can get a guy that maybe has a little more upside, you may be able to squeeze out a few extra points in a deeper league. But my starts, I'm going to go ahead and start DK Metcalf this week against Atlanta. I said sit Geno Smith, but last week they fed Lockett. I think they're going to try and get DK going this time. They said they're going to open the offense for Geno a little bit. So that might be a few more receptions for DK. I think they may try to get him going this week. So they're playing Atlanta. It's not a scary matchup. So go ahead and start DK this week. I think we're going to have the bounce back game, but I think you should sell him right after that. Jacoby Myers, guaranteed role in the offense. The offense isn't going to move the ball downfield much. Jacoby's getting the targets. They're going to be the guy that Mac Jones goes to, short crossers, and occasionally they'll try and hit him downfield. But he's not going to have the touchdown upside, but he's going to have PPR value. So they're playing against Baltimore. He's expected to score 12 points. He's averaging 9.5 targets a game. So start Jacoby Myers. Russell Gage, they're missing everybody in Tampa Bay. You got Mike Evans suspended. You got Godwin out with a hamstring. You got Julio maybe not playing. That's going to leave Russell Gage and Brashad Perriman as your 1 and 2 for Tom Brady. I don't care who it is. If you're a top wide receiver for Tom Brady, I'm going to want to play you. So he's expected to score 11.2. They say he may be dealing with a hammy issue, so keep an eye on that. But if he's good to go ahead and play Russell Gage this weekend. Chris Olave, playing against Carolina, who's pretty good defense against wide receivers and quarterbacks. But he's got 13 targets this past weekend, played 75% of snaps. Even in a bad, rough game, they were still trying to feed him. I think they're going to continue to do that. He's expected to score, I think, like 10 points, 9.5 points. He can beat that easily. He may even get a touchdown. So go ahead and get Olave into your lineup at a flex in a deeper league if you need a wide receiver. Tight ends, Hayden Hurst. He's expected to score 11.2, which is a little more than what he's been getting projected as. But he's getting 8-9 targets. Even with Higgins back, he was still getting targeted. I think Hayden Hurst might be a potential back-end tight end 1, maybe tight end 10 range. So go ahead and start Hurst. I think he'll be all right in that offense. Logan Thomas, I think you can start Logan Thomas. 10.3 points projected. They're starting to get him the ball. He's got touchdown upside. So if they start covering Dotson some more, Logan Thomas is going to be left open. So go ahead and get Logan Thomas. Looks like he's back and healthy. So maybe he even gets better. So look forward to that. And Pitts, go ahead and start Pitts this week. Don't be down on Pitts. Don't try to sit him. Don't get cute. Follow through with your pick. You got to start your guys sometimes. Start Pitts. They're playing Seattle, not a crazy defense. I think they try to get him going, and he may even, get his 1 touchdown of the year this year. Who knows? So go ahead, start Pitts. Have confidence in that, and ride him out. So that's it, guys. That's the starts and sits of the week. That's going to wrap us up for episode 3.5, week 3. Going to watch the games this weekend. Come back to you on Tuesday with waivers. If you have any disagreements, suggestions, anything like that, let me know in the comments, or you can hit me up, laughingmanfb@gmail.com. I'm open to everything. We're looking to grow as a channel. We just want to get to know everybody, get some more viewers, reach some more eyes, some more ears. Follow us on every social media, Facebook, TikTok. Just look up the Laughing Man Network. So until Tuesday when we go over waivers, I'm just going to be watching football, hoping everybody gets a win. So until then, guys, see you.